Before I start, I just wanted to say thank you to Shankmate for being my very first subscriber. I hope I'm saying your username right. I know that you had a lot of other videos that you could have watched instead of mine, and you chose to spend your time watching my video, and apparently you liked it, and that made me really happy to see, so thank you so much. So now, moving on to today's video. In my previous video, I focused on Twitch girls themselves and didn't say much about the guys who pay for their services. And there was a good reason for that. Basement goblins who pay for Twitch porn can't be reached with an appeal to decency because they have none. The most productive thing to do is to ignore them until they get bored and leave. But this one particular video from L of the Day, a channel that I generally really enjoy, has compelled me to focus on them for just a minute.
And it turns out, like Drake, you were hiding something. Because Nick Lee isn't just a supporter or a fan or a form of fling. He's your husband. You're married to Nick Lee. And I was confused. Why wouldn't you tell people that you're married? And that's a horrible form of false advertisement. If I was one of the people donating to you, I would ask for a refund, possibly, because I feel like I've been paying for something that isn't what I was promised.
As a quick summary, a couple of months ago, streamer Amaranth was accused of hiding her marriage so that she can get more money from her goblins by pretending that she was single and insinuating that she was romantically available to them. I don't know if that's true, and I don't really care. I care about King of Fame trying to portray rich perverts as victims. If you invested 13 grand a month into a cow you've never milked, then you deserved to be disappointed. If you legitimately believed that you had a chance with a woman who you had to pay to see naked, then you deserved to be disappointed. Maybe a $13,000 reality check was exactly what that donor needed. This might be the one good thing that Amaranth has contributed to society in her career. Thanks to her possibly being the world's worst wife, maybe these guys will wake up, realize that cam girls are a waste of time and money, and go on to pursue true fulfillment and maybe find real girlfriends whose boobs they can touch for free and... Oh. Okay, maybe not. I think the fact that she still has so many followers kind of proves my point that you shouldn't feel sorry for these guys, but it's not just her, obviously. It's always been the case that when a man and woman do something wrong together, the woman usually gets the brunt of everyone's judgment. We focus more on the lying cam girl than on the guys who were dumb enough to give her 13 grand in the first place. More on the homewrecker than on the guy who actually cheated on someone. More on the gold digger than on the shallow creep who chose looks over character. A good example in pop culture is a reality show called 90 Day Fiancé. I don't watch it, but some clips popped up on my feed about a couple named Anfisa and George. George fell in love with Anfisa for exactly one reason. Okay, two reasons. He fell in love with her risque modeling portfolio and pretended to be rich to get her to date him. It worked for a while, and then she figured out that he wasn't rich, and then they started fighting, because that's what happens when your relationship is based on money that doesn't actually exist. These are both awful people, or at least the characters they play are awful, because this is reality TV and it's probably fake, but the comment section is full of real people who think the show is real and are just taking a dump on the girl, but they feel so bad for George, the guy who thought he was too good for normal women despite being unimpressive himself, and decided to buy a trophy wife instead because he wanted a hot wife more than he wanted a good wife. He has such little respect for love and marriage that he looked at a pair of boobs, got chubby, and thought, well, I guess she's the one. And he's the sympathetic character here somehow. I'm not one to accuse everything of being sexist. That label is applied way too often to situations where it doesn't actually exist. But this dynamic in romance and sex, where women are evil, conniving soul suckers and men are pure, innocent victims who are just manipulated into doing the bad thing, that looks pretty sexist to me. So I think it's about time that we all acknowledge that there are some terrible women in the world and some terrible men in the world. Sometimes a terrible man finds a terrible woman and they go on to be terrible together. Can we just agree that they're both garbage and hope that they stay together so none of us ever get stuck with one of them?